Hello, guys, and welcome to the Know Your Rights podcast. My name is Vivian Mleya from the Girls Table, and today we are focusing on the right to education. I'm joined by three young people who are enthusiastic about education, and they're going to introduce themselves. I'll start with you.
Hello guys, my name is Natasha Abigotliwayo and I'm from the Zimbabwe Law Students Association. Thank you.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Florence Makakula. I'm from Lubani and I'm working with the Rural Communities Empowerment Trust.
Oh, I feel like speaking vernacular. Sanibonani. My name is Brisky Fanonule from Kawazu Community Radio Station.
Okay, welcome guys to our podcast. So basically the right to education is enshrined in the Zimbabwean Constitution under section Brisky.
Section 75, yeah.
Okay, yes, it's under section 75. So it guarantees that every citizen and permanent resident of Zimbabwe has the right to a basic state-funded education, including adult basic education. The Constitution mandates that the state should take reasonable measures to make education progressively available and accessible to all. So maybe before we proceed, is there anyone with a contribution maybe to what I've just said?
Maybe to begin with, education is one of the basic rights that we have as maybe enshrined in our constitution as Zimbabwe. So just like any other right or that is enshrined in our constitution, I think there should be proper and adequate investment and adherence to the tenets that have been enshrined within the constitution. Bridge all gaps that are there for children and young people to access the education. That's what I can say for start.
Okay, maybe the first question to all of you guys, have you personally had to overcome any barriers to access education? I'll start with you, Florence.
Yeah, even if I see me personally, but there are some of us who have faced barriers to access education, especially persons with disabilities. Our educational infrastructure are not disability friendly. In some of the schools, especially in rural areas, they do not have ramps to accommodate those who are using wheelchairs, and even those toilets that are disability friendly, they are not available in such schools.
Okay.
Oh yeah, maybe I'm not so sure if this is personal. Yeah, but it is personal. I was born and bred in a rural setup. Emakaya, first you would be told that maybe first local 7, then you're walking about 3 to 5K going to the nearest maybe secondary school or even primary school. Then you discover that the quality of education compared, or probably sometimes you get there, you are already tired. Probably sometimes you are sent back home because you do not have maybe adequate fees. You do not have maybe even the complete school uniform that is needed. You do not have maybe adequate maybe like resources like at school. So to me, I think those things are one of the issues that maybe deter or have been a barrier. We have maybe so somewhat compromised maybe my access to education as a young person. For example, I'll tell you that I had a chance to first teach a computer keyboard when I was 1 to university. So you see that divide that is there between the urban and the rural divide. You are already at part 1 in university. You don't even know what is a computer. You click the keyboard for the first time. You're supposed to be typing an assignment. It's because of the background that is maybe we are growing up within a rural setup. So to me, yeah, those are some of the issues that maybe we face as young people, or that we have faced in terms of access to education. And up to date, you discover with Kakona, there are people who are still facing the same issues. If you go in the rural setup, there are kids who are still learning within the centers maybe that were left by the colonial people, the homesteads and stuff. That's where maybe they are using those structures as their educational classes. So to me, that compromises the quality of education that a young person is getting.
Okay. Natasha?
Okay, the last one. Okay, so acknowledging the privilege that I've had to also access quality education by virtue of going to former white schools, I've also been cognizant of the fact that I also come from a community where I've seen the barriers that comes from financial constraints concerning access to education. It's a well-known fact that education in Zimbabwe is very expensive, and the more expensive the school is, the more the quality of the education is. So I think financial constraints is like a major problem that actually affects the youth in accessing quality education, because it's more like your fees now determine the quality of education that you're getting. And yeah, so I think there needs to be a great work even in like urban areas, even in Harare. It's actually shocking that some schools, even in high density areas, don't even have access to technology, access to laptops. You'd even be surprised, because how come the misconception is that if you stay in Harare, you know how to like use a laptop or use a computer, but you'd actually be surprised. So I think there's a great way or a great divide that needs to be bridged by the government, as enshrined in the constitution, for it's the supreme law of the country. And it's meant to benefit each and every citizen, for it is the constitution of Zimbabwe. Yeah, so I think financial constraints is the major barrier that affects the youth in accessing education.
Okay, interesting points. You guys have already taken my second question, but okay. So, what barriers to education do youth in your area face, and how can this be overcome? Let me start with you, please. The talkative.
You're putting me in the spotlight. Anyway, but let me say, I've alluded to it maybe before. For example, umuntu lo ufunda at a rural school that doesn't have even a science lab. They are doing maybe sciences, but they've never been in a laboratory. They don't know even what is an experiment. An experiment to them is theoretical.
Yeah.
Then when you then come maybe or rise a lot of education, you are made to compete with someone who has a principle. So already there's already this divide that is there between us. Someone who is at a rural school, for example, lapha funda khona, even the desk ahlala kulo sebenzini, the distance that they have to walk to school. But when we then maybe rise up the ladder, so maybe see college, maybe see university, for example, the cutoff is, they will tell you that maybe we want maybe 13 points for females. If it's low, 15 points for the gentlemen. But the practicality of that for someone maybe who is learning a school semaka and the one who is learning a school that is maybe within an urban setup, already I think there is someone who has been disenfranchised of the right to education, for example. Then I would say also our education especially is restrictive. It doesn't give options to people. Maybe I spoke about you'll find if you go at a raw school, these guys are doing 8 straight subjects. There are sciences, there are commercials, there are arts. You will never know it. Even if you can know it, but you do not have the options to be choosing from, because already this school is teaching only 8 subjects. But probably my passion was I want sciences. Maybe I want to be an engineer and stuff. My passion was maybe I want arts. I want maybe to be a lawyer and stuff. But I don't have all the options to be choosing from. I would just maybe work with what's there. For example, fortunate myself maybe because of my talkativeness, I've always been an arts person. But when I was at school, primary and secondary level, you would realize that I did 8 subjects. And the choice of it for people maybe who wanted to then maybe further their studies to be studying sciences, there were no those options that are there. Sciences. It wasn't there. It's just maybe 8. You are doing development, you are doing history, you are doing BK, you are doing fashion and fabrics, you are doing agriculture, etc. You see, so you are restricted because of your location in terms of education. So I would think if government, like what is enshrined in the constitution, could standardize the availability of options, of education options either between the rural and the urban divide. That we all have the equal opportunities and equal access to educational facilities that we also desire. And I think probably sometimes, even in sports, you realize that you only find maybe tennis and cricket at schools that are A schools in town. But in Makaya, probably my talent was supposed to be there. Because I think it's part of education. Our education is only mainly focused on academics. We don't nurture sports people in the rural communities. What if I'm not gifted academically? I'm gifted in terms of sports. I'm gifted maybe in terms of vocational training skills. I'm only told that the two practicals that are here is agriculture and fishing and fabrics. But maybe me now, I want to do building. I want to do woodwork. Those options are not there for me. So I think these are having structural barriers to education that exist within maybe rural setups to say.
Okay.
Okay. On top of that, I think the other barrier, maybe there is a gap between izikolo zemakhaya lezikolo zetown. Abantwana abafunde emakhaya labafunde etown. You realize ukuthi ama-teachers amaningi, they don't want to go to rural schools just because of infrastructure. There are no roads. Even the ama-classes angikhona, the structures are asefile nje. So akula muntu le interest yokuya khona ngale. And the other thing eyenza ukuthi otitsha bebe balutshwana indaba ze-economy. Otitsha, they are being demotivated, abaphiwa imali eyeneleyo. So they opt ukuthi behambe bayodinga imisebenzi engcono kwamanye amazwe, leaving their country. Then emakhaya ubusuthola ukuthi kuyaswelakala kakhulu otitsha be-maths, otitsha bama-sciences, ubusuthola ukuthi abantwana bayesebenzisa othathu ama-subjects ekuphongweza ama-commercials lama-arts. And then at the end of the day, let's take for example iLupane. It is a university, a science university. They mainly focus on agricultural sciences, but there are no science teachers. In fact, in Lupane, there are only 26 secondary schools, and only 6 have the status of high school, and none of them have a working science laboratory. So, how can ucabanga ukuthi ngubani ozahamba eLupane State University? I-university liyana yafakelwa ubani? At the end of the day, uzabona sokubuya abantu from other places bezofunda in that university. So on that, I think i-government kumele ukuthi ikhangelisise kakhulu indaba yeholo labotitsha, qakathekise i-education, and also put more resources nxa sesikhangela especially indaba zama-textbooks, indaba ze-infrastructure, because ezikolo ezithize, teachers and kids are supposed to implement the new curriculum, which talks about efuna e-technology. But in those schools, there's no electricity. You cannot talk of e-laptop or e-desktop while least in that school there's no electricity. So I think e-government has to put more resources when it comes to education.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Florence. And Natasha, you had a burning point.
Just to add on, I think most points have been already elaborated, but I think as a way to bridge the disparities that exist, I think corporate social responsibility can be an anchor to actually bridge the gap in access to education. And some good corporate social responsibility initiative that comes to mind is the High Life. And obviously High Life cannot bridge around the whole country to assist, but I think Econet Holdings has done quite a lot. I've seen some students from the University of Zimbabwe, not knowing if the initiative is spreading around the country, but I think big corporate giants who are making profits from people even in the country should then try to bridge in and give access to education to everyone, because I believe at the end of the day that with education, like, a man can be free, and the youths are the future of the country. So if the youths are not being invested educationally, they're going to turn into antisocial behaviors such as drug abuse and the likes. So I think we need to push for corporates to bridge into the gap of making sure education is accessible to all, even in mining towns and communities. We should hold those people who are making profits from our communities to actually invest back into our communities, to say, you've been mining in our city for 5 years, what have you done for the community in itself? Because we're providing labor for you, you are even suffering environmental effects from your exploits. So bridge it into the community again, bring back into the community again. So my main point in bridging the financial gap, we should push for corporate social responsibility. Yeah.
Also, to add on to what those guys have been saying, my main concern is on rural schools. You see, the distance between those schools is just too much. You find that someone has to walk 4 or 5 kilometers to school, 5 kilometers again going back home. So let's say school starts at 7:20. You have to wake up at 4, go to school. Already by the time you get to school, you are tired. How are you going to concentrate? And in most cases, these children are abused along the way, especially abantwana abangamankazana, they are abused, which then leads to most of them dropping out. And that is a violation of their rights, because already you've dropped out of school, you are no longer, equipped, which is something that needs to be addressed. So I don't know if maybe we can petition for the government to build more schools or something, because like abantwana basemakhaya, rural schools is really, really a struggle.
Mina, I'm worried, Vivian, because government has promised so many times that free education for all next year. I think we've been seeing these headlines happening year in, year out. But up to today, there is no such free education. Parents are still paying their fees. They're still struggling with maybe even buying the books for the children. The only time that I remember when I was in primary, you remember, I was fortunate maybe because those were the last days of that happening. With the bullying, I could go to the head and you're giving another maybe a new book. But I'm 2000.
They don't know that experience.
You see, but I think by then we had a glimpse of maybe value for education. Government was placing that value in the education sector. But currently, it has been just headlines within the newspapers, headlines within maybe the TV news and stuff. But we haven't seen real practical things happening on the ground. Maybe thanks to government. Recently, I just heard that government is distributing computers within schools. That is commendable. But I think maybe it's long overdue. The impetus is supposed to increase because access to education. Just imagine if someone might drop off school at primary level. What community are we then building tomorrow of someone who doesn't have even a grade 7 certificate to be safe?
That's true. Another question, I'll start with you, Natasha. What innovative solutions have you seen or implemented to improve educational access and quality?
That's a good question. So personally, I feel like I'm still young and there's quite a lot more to do. But I believe in being a beacon of hope above all, in that I come from Chitungiza, a high-density community. So I believe that in my exploits and taking up higher education and me fulfilling my purpose, I'll then be able to then bring it back into the community. For it gives hope, because I feel like for even students who come from small communities or rural areas, if they see someone within their community who's actually making it out there, for an example, YETT, right? She's doing very amazing stuff. She's talking about education, she's empowering. So currently I've also been able to found an organization. It's still quite new, but it's called Generation Z in Law School. So it's more like to help and assist students in terms of mental health, because considering that you're coming from a small community and you're coming to University of Zimbabwe, you get a culture shock. Like like what you're saying about even accessing laptops. Sometimes you feel like you don't belong, or you're small, or you're inferior. But then I've been able to create this platform to talk to students even from those communities when they are then able to come to higher tertiary institutions, that it's okay to belong, it's okay to feel like you're small, acknowledge those emotions, but then if with hard work you can actually pursue it. So I feel like there's quite a lot more to do, and sitting here today discussing about it, I'm sure we're also making great strides in making sure that other youths who are watching this video are made aware that their rights exist. So yeah, I think also talking to you today is actually a step in the right direction, like I said.
And Florence?
Okay, what we have been doing is that we normally educate especially young women, because laba ngabantu aba-affectwa kakhulu. Asithi umuntu akasazange maybe wakwanisa even ukubhala i-O level, then eyabe sezitshela ukuthi impilo yakhe ngeyokuthi yena abe i-housewife. Then we educate them ukuthi even ungazange wenelisa ukubhala i-O level ngasoneso sikhathi, there is still a chance you can go ahead, and also to capacitate the whole community, especially when it comes to issues to do with gender equality, that they have to send their girl child to school instead of opting to send the boy child, claiming that this one will go and uzahamba ayokwenda and then ahambele lokhu le mali yethu, because abantu baye bembhadalele ngemali. So we are educating the community to value the girl child njengalokhu they value the boy child.
Okay. Brother?
Maybe mina, I can just say, maybe you have crossed this bridge. Also help someone to cross the bridge that you've crossed, because definitely it is our communities that are going to suffer. It's our siblings that are also going to suffer. But we can't do everything. This is a basic right that is within the constitution. Government still has to do its part to say if they promised free education, let government fulfill that money. Because to me, I still believe, Natasha mentioned something earlier on to say, we have companies that are mining. Why can't they contribute directly maybe in terms of education? We have corporates that are also maybe doing well. We have people like maybe big institutions like our Nyaras and stuff. What are they doing to the community? Because those companies that are existing, they should now build to the communities in terms of maybe supporting free education, but maybe access to education can be enhanced.
Okay, interesting conversation that we have been having there. Thank you so much, guys, for joining our Know Your Rights podcast. Until next time, I hope you have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.